So I never know exactly what I'm going to talk about. There's a topic, it says so on the brochure. So there is some kind of expectation to deliver. But at 1:00 this morning, I woke up for no reason other than just thinking about this talk. And I was very clear on the first message, which is new for me, because I've been on stages around the world where I've never been given any heads up about what I'm supposed to talk about. And it was simply to almost make a confession right up front and to admit that my journey has been a journey of realizing that I know nothing and that I've been wrong about everything. So over here, I'm going to put the word calling. And over here, I'm going to put the word career. How many of us we like this word, don't we? Are we not so sure about this one? Like a job. Who else has been allergic to the idea of, work and money? And so this thing called a calling, I wanted one very badly because I was convinced when I saw sci-fi movies when I was young, like Star Wars and Star Trek, I'm like, that's real. This isn't. I've lost my badge. You know the little Star Trek badge? I'm not sorry if you're not a geek. In Star Trek, you get a badge. And when you get teleported down to a planet and you now don't want to be there anymore, you go like this. And you go, beam me up, Scotty. I was like, someone took my badge. I really didn't want to be here. I had a near-death experience when I was 4. And as a consequence, felt very homesick for the first 20 years of my life. So I desperately wanted a calling because I just wanted anything to get away from the pain of being a human being. So I wanted a calling. I wanted this stuff. I wanted the spiritual to avoid being here. Can we also call it a longing? Who here knows the longing? The longing. And what's so frustrating about the longing is we don't even know really what we're longing for. So, if you're willing to be wrong, if you're willing to say, if you're willing to rediscover everything, you might find that everything, not just like a Hallmark card, everything genuinely is made of love. But it's not the kind of love that I used to think was on this side. Because I used to think this is love and light, yes? Because I was so allergic to all of this stuff. I'm not going to have a job like my mom and dad, bless them. I want a calling. I want something that my soul, I'm in love with this ethereal longing. I can't put my finger on it. I don't know what it is, but I know it's not that. And so I've done a lot of that to realize that I was wrong again. And so life has given me an interesting journey because I think I started as a mystic, dying at 4, very introverted, very serious little girl, a lot of mystical experiences as a kid, thought I was absolutely nuts. So I started as a mystic and then by accident I was considered to, someone decided I was psychic. So I became like this protege teenage psychic and had clients. I was terrified out of my mind. Started doing readings after school, take my school uniform off, and people would arrive at my front door and they say, "Hello, sweetheart, I'm here to see Colleen." And I'm like, "I'm Colleen." But I was so desperate. I had this longing, you see. This calling for something we don't know what it is. And so did that for a few years, tried a couple of other things out. In my 20s, started a school where I met some of these beautiful people. Can you believe it? All this long, an Academy of Metaphysics. Yeah. Oh. And I used to teach about 60 to 100 people a week. Got to meet Radha Krishna. And now, my kids who are now in their 20s Say, Mom, you were the queen of the woo-woos. And here's the thing about seeking wisdom and seeking truth. Again, it's about being willing to be wrong. I think it's so important for us, again, not to try to be spiritual. When you meditate, when you connect, when you pray, don't try to be spiritual. What I've learned is that the best way to do this is to be absolutely raw and real. I think it's so important for us to just be honest about whatever we're feeling, the pettiness, whatever it is. When we're struggling financially, when the world has been turned upside down, the you that you really are said yes because you're equal to this. That's who you really are. Yeah? That's like who you really are. And that, my beautifuls, is the real calling. And it changes everything. It dismantles the ideas of this is spiritual and this isn't. And it just collapses everything. And here's the thing I was wrong about. Love doesn't mind building businesses. Love doesn't mind building websites. When I was younger, looking at I want a calling, I want to be spiritual, I judged all of that stuff. Okay, when I was young, there weren't things called websites, but I judged the material world. That's materialistic. I'm spiritual. Yeah? And the collapse of that is to realize none of us know how love wants to move for the other. But what an adventure to step into. How does love want to move today? And when life took me into giving up my academy, which was a surprise, and wisdom says, drop the spiritual teacher identity. Last time we were all together, some of us, I let that all go. And I was terrifying. Now what am I going to do? Well, what love wants to do now is it wants to build a business. Like, I don't know what I'm doing. Apparently love knows how to do these things. Love built websites. They let me in boardrooms. I was closing deals and building coaching programs and getting accreditation and working with my beautiful friend Glenn. And it was all the time, I was like shocked. Listening to an accountant, everything had to be burned up in love. Everything had to be reformed. To find a way to market from love instead of feel like I was selling my soul, you know? How do you market? How do you go to market? Well, carrot, stick, or love. And when I've asked deep wisdom for the longing, still some of this old longing, this is what comes from love. Meet them at their place of need. We were just talking about that outside. Laura was saying, the people's hungry. You don't tell them about enlightenment, you feed them. If somebody falls in front of you, grazes their knee, you go and you help them. So right now, people are struggling with careers. They're struggling with merging calling and career. So that's what I'm deeply interested in, helping people to be master coaches. But it's all ninja, guys. It's all undercover. So my life has taught me that I've been wrong about everything. But this clear seeing that love and wisdom bring has been the adventure of a lifetime. I've had one foot in the mystical, one foot in the very real, We've danced with death. We've bled a lot. We've cried a lot. And it left us in a good space. Thank you.